Good afternoon, everybody. Meteorologist Jack Griffin here once again in with some more updates on severe weather. This is mainly going to be focusing on some of our warnings. I'm preparing a lot of things for our evening newscasts. We're going to have meteorologist Jacob Dickey as well as Kevin Leidy in Gibson City, where there has been just tremendous amounts of flooding. So we're preparing some of those graphics here. What I'm going to show mainly will be radar-based information. And if you have any rain gauge pictures, I just want to say this right now, any rain gauge pictures of where you live, send them to weather@wci.com. That's going to be the best way to get it. That way that it goes into all of our email inboxes. Don't leave a comment in this video because I won't be able to see it. And it's hard for me to get pictures off of comments within the live videos. So just want to let you know about that. We'll go to our Storm Tracker Doppler. We currently have two warnings out there. We have them both for your baseline severe thunderstorm warnings. Now, what's interesting before we get into that, though, will be look at the training event that we have seen this morning into the afternoon. These storms, a training event means that storms go over the same place over and over and over. And then within the past about half hour, we had them rapidly intensify into essentially kind of two lines, and now there's been more re-intensification to connect those lines. So now it looks like everything might be really starting to move quickly off to the southeast now, after it's been just dumping tons of rain across southern McLean County, northern Champaign County, Ford County, into northern Vermilion County, the heavy rain spots, and then out of our viewing area south of Peoria. Now we're noticing this surging line down to our southeast. So we're going to talk about that right now. First off, though, let's take a look at what we have in the nearby local terms. I'm going to turn everything to now, turn the lightning off. We have this warning that came in from Sangamon County, and this is our latest warning. So this one is a severe thunderstorm warning for Christian County, Sangamon County, and a little bit of Macon County also. This goes until 3:30 for radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour winds and hail that's smaller than quarter size, smaller than an inch at 3/4 of an inch. It says radar indicated, but there actually have been a few spotters in the region who have measured 60-mile-per-hour winds, which is why they prompted that warning there. And then we have our other warning, which is in Vermilion County. This one came up just a little bit after that one in Springfield. And this one is for, again, 60-mile-per-hour winds, 3/4 inch hail. So it is not a really hail maker with these. It's more of the wind with these storms as these things surge off to our southeast. We also have the flash flood warnings, which remain. And in fact, now you'll notice that it's kind of this one blob area here, which goes until 4:15. So that it was actually supposed to end 5 minutes ago at 3 o'clock. It now is coming to an end at 4:15. So we have flash flood warnings. We've got our severe thunderstorm warnings for Vermilion County that goes until 3:30. And then we also have our other warning for Sangamon, portions of Christian, portions of Macon County until 3:30 also. The main story, though, has been our flooding. This is a video that our meteorologist Jacob Dickey took earlier on this morning of the Gibson City area. Just outside there, you can see the drainage ditch coming off the fields, moving with some very quick water, very high water. And this is just one video of it. We've got a ton of video that's been coming into us. Our own meteorologist Jacob Dickey, who's from Gibson City, is dealing with a lot of flooding at his parents' home, unfortunately. We've got meteorologist Kevin Leidy out there too. So the two of them are up in Gibson City, and they're providing as much information, getting it back to us as they can. But there's been a power issue. There's a lot of people that are without power in Ford County. And also, as a result of that, we have very little in the way of cell service coming out of Gibson City. So the cell networks have been brought down as everyone's trying to get in contact with everybody else. So it's been hard to get pictures and video back from them. But we are doing the best we can, and we have some very compelling video that we'll show during our newscasts. Again, if you have any videos and pictures you want to send to us, the WCIA3 weather app is a great tool to use. It is a easy to use one as well, and we hope that you use it. So what's loading up right now is, oh my goodness, these are the rain totals over the past 24 hours radar estimated rainfall amounts. I'm going to delete these numbers here because this has grown significantly within the past few hours. So let's back up in time. You can see the rain total amounts there this morning. Focus in on this area right here, kind of this area right here, okay? As of 4:45 this morning, there was actually no rain there. They had not seen any rain yet. The storms had not approached, and then here they come. You know, they're providing heavy rain throughout the 7 o'clock hour, 8 o'clock hour, and then it just does not end, and here is where we are left with. So these are radar estimate amounts, so it's not going to be the exact number that's on the ground, but we have seen some people who have sent us videos of their rain gauges in the area over 4 inches, over 5 inches. So radar estimated rainfall comes in at over 10 inches of rain in the span of 24 hours, but technically most of this has actually fallen really in the past 12 hours. In fact, let's just do that. I'll just make it the last 12 hours, and it barely changed anything. So it just shows you that pretty much all the rain that we have seen has been since this morning. That was right there in that target zone. Let's go to Gibson City. 5.9, 7. I'm just clicking here. So in and around the Gibson City area, they have seen about 7 inches of radar estimated rainfall in that location there. But again, the high spot is going to be technically just a little bit off to the southeast from there in the extreme northern portion of Champaign County into the extreme southern portions of Ford County, where some of these are getting close to 12 inches in this area. Again, this is radar estimated, and radar estimated means that it's doing just that. It's estimating it based off the radar how much rain has fallen. It makes sense in this area. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn our radar back on, and when it loads up, and what I'm going to do is turn the lightning off. It makes it a little bit easier to see. And oh, we got a new warning. I'll talk about that here in just a second. And we'll go back to Gibson City. So this is over the past 3 hours, but let's go over the past 12 hours. And this may take a moment to load up here as it does so, but you're going to notice in this area there has just been constantly rain over this region, and not just any type of rain, but the heavy rain, where we've got the oranges, the reds, and even the pinks that are showing up. So it's been just constantly training with thunderstorms over the same area. Let's see how far back I can go. It's a lot of information, so it loads up here kind of slow. May not go back that far just yet, but we've got it at least showing up here from 9:15 this morning. So the past about 9 hours. Let's go 9 hours to make sure that is. We'll go 6 hours. We'll go 6 hours. That way for sure we got everything loaded up. Okay. So the past 6 hours, you've got the heavy rain over the area in the Gibson City area. And we're just getting information out of there. North of Fisher, there's been a ton. Just off to the northwest of Rantoul. You know, we're focusing in on Gibson City because there's a lot of information coming out of there, but they're not the only ones that have been dealing with the flooding. In fact, the whole region here has seen heavy flooding. It's just, you can look at it right there. Watch this region. Watch in there. As we go backwards and forwards in time, it's just there. The rain is just there. And so that's why they've seen just so much rain. Now, the good thing is, as things have now started to turn more into these line segments that are surging down to the south, it's creating more of a severe weather type of setup for us here over the next couple hours. But at least what it's doing is bringing the rain showers away from Ford County, away from northern Champaign County, away from the places that have seen all this heavy rain. So locations that do need the rain, like down to the south, we've got the rain coming in here. I'm going to go to our Skycam, and that is Champaign. Let me switch this up here. And as we go to Charleston, this is going to look pretty cool, I think. Yep, we got the storm coming in there. Let's take a look at Mattoon. Let's see what theirs looks like. Okay, so Mattoon, it's just kind of approaching in here from off the camera. Let's go back to Charleston. That was a little bit of a better picture there. So the storm is right on your doorstep as it comes on through. If you look closely, you can see the trees off on the left side of the screen are blowing around quite a bit. Even the camera's moving a lot, and temperatures are very warm. Remember, we still have a heat advisory for the area until 7 o'clock. Now, as you've noticed, as storms have pushed on south, it's canceling those, but it still exists there for many locations. Let's go back to our warnings that we do have. This new warning that just came out is for a large area of Shelby County, Christian County, Southern Macon County, a little bit of Moultrie County. I just want to get some information on that one. Unfortunately, having some, there it comes. Our data is kind of loading up a little slow when it comes to this. So let me check a couple things here. That's not coming through. Apologize for this, everybody. Just multitasking. All right, we'll take the warning. We'll take the radar off and see if the warning information pops up. Okay. So what's happened now is we have Christian, Macon, Moultrie, and Shelby counties. Radar indicated 70-mile-per-hour winds with 3/4 size inch hail. Threat considerable. So this actually is taking advantage of some of the new information and the new technology that we've been able to do in terms of the weather alert radios as well as your phones. So your phones now will also have alerts for severe thunderstorm warnings if they meet a certain criteria. This one does not do that just yet, but it is very close to doing that. And so as a result of that, this thunderstorm is doing what we call surging. It is surging to the southeast as it moves through, and that's why it has a considerable damage. Unfortunately, the information that I use to go off of is not loading up that information, so I can't get to it just yet in terms of how fast it's moving. I have to imagine, though, this is moving very quickly, but like I said, with the internet coming in from the National Weather Service office is not getting that information where I need it to come in just yet. So I will do my best to find that, but it's going to be surging here. So we are talking about some very, very strong winds that will be coming in out of this. What I'm going to do here is actually change my camera here 1 second. All right. Going to swap cameras here. What we're going to do is also going to swap some of our video inputs around, because I just want to make sure that we get the information that you guys need here. So we've got our severe thunderstorm warning. Actually, the main reason why I'm switching is to see if I can get a better internet signal on this computer over here, to see if that information will come on through, because that might be what my problem has been. Okay, so it's a little slow for them to update it there. So I'm just checking some things here to make sure. Again, the main issue here is that I'm not getting some of the information that I need to provide you with all the warning criteria, like the speed of it. But we are looking at things to be here at pretty significant threat here for wind. What's happening now is this. The storm, and I'll zoom out, what's happening is that the storm is now really transitioning from a training event, which has been, where it was more of an east-west line initially, is now transitioning over into more of a line segment event where you've got these strong winds. So that's why we have the winds that are creating some severe thunderstorm warnings on the east side of our viewing area for Vermilion County, and even going into Indiana. and this is now surging off to our southeast now across portions of Christian County, going into Shelby County there. And when it does that, that's usually when a storm is going to be moving very quickly. This might be when it dies out, so it may be in the process of blowing itself out. We have to kind of wait and see. But what it is doing, though, for sure, is producing some very strong winds at the surface. And so that's what we're looking out for with these types of alerts. With these storms, as they come through into the Shelby area, the Shelbyville area, what we're going to be looking at will be, are any of those winds that the radar is picking up on making it down to the ground? For sure, some of that is. If it's born for 70 miles an hour, we're easily going to be looking at 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, likely making it down to the ground and potentially creating some damage issues there. But what you're kind of noticing is that things are really just flying down to our southeast. We've been noticing this all morning too. With the wide view in place, we are so hot and we are so humid that there's so much energy to work with that these storms are just exploding on the radar. You go a couple of frames and it looks totally different. You can really tell when we have our lightning turned on. With the lightning turned on, you can tell that it's a good indication of a strengthening storm. So we've got warnings to talk about still. We've got Vermilion County. They have their warning that goes until 3:30. So that one, I'll turn everything off here to kind of make it easier to see. So that one goes until 3:30, and it's got 60-mile-per-hour winds with it and 3/4 sized hail. So it's a pretty small hail threat out of this thing. It's mainly going to be the winds from it, and we'll take a look at some of those winds. We've got most likely the surging winds coming in from this. So here's our velocity. The brighter colors indicate the stronger winds. It's pushing away from the radar, which is back in Lincoln. So it's pushing away. The winds are going out in front of the storm. It's coming out of the storm. Technically, it's going away from us, moving into Indiana, and then back off to our southwest, where we have more of these storms. Yeah, so here we go. So Taylorville right now, even though we were talking about severe thunderstorm warnings, these are very, very dangerous wind speeds that we're picking up on. You've got the bright colors that are going away. In fact, on the scale of away, those bright colors are about as high as you can go. In fact, let me take a look at what it will offer here in terms of showing up for any information. Oh, just the warning there. But this is for sure easy looking at 60-mile-per-hour winds moving through the Taylorville area, if not even higher than that. What I'm going to do here is also show our local power outages. What this is going to show, and I have to refresh this. What this is going to show is that Ford County has had a number of power outages. This is a manually updated map, so I'm going to have to change this here because right now we're looking at Christian County, also looking at some power outages. But Ford County right now has at least 1,000 outages. At last check, it was 1,100. It's probably even more than that now. So we'll make sure we have the most up-to-date numbers here for you on our 5 o'clock newscast. Let's go back to our radar. And you'll see that our radar continues to have a surging motion down to the southeast with these storms. We've got the 2 warnings in place now. Let's get close enough for it to register. There it goes. So that one goes until 4 o'clock for the Christian, Macon, Moultrie, Shelby County one, 3:30 for the one back behind it. And essentially now what we have is this leading line of storms, which has taken forever to move down to the south, has now finally done so. So as we kind of loop here, you've got all the rain has been staying up here, and then within the past about hour, we've had explosive development, but it's been able to move now more to the southeast, which has been a good thing. So on one hand, when these storms are moving into the southeast, it's moving into all this untouched air. We have not seen any storms in this region. It's been extremely hot, extremely humid. Heat index values have been up to 110 in this area the past few days, including today. So there's nothing that's gone through here recently to really disturb the air. There's untapped energy that these storms are ready to go into, and they're just feeding off of it as they come on through. So we'll be looking at potentially a few more warnings out of this thing as it moves off to our southeast. But if you live in the Christian County and Shelby counties, you want to make sure that you are safe inside because of the fact that we have such strong winds with this. We'll turn our velocity back on, and you'll see that our velocity, our colors are extremely high right around the Taylorville area, heading into the Moweaqua area, Assumption. So those strong winds are approaching Highway 51 currently, but even still behind those colors. Edinburgh, still going to be very breezy there too. South of Edinburgh, north of Taylorville, kind of in and around the Stonington region there, a little bit more off to the southwest from there. So this is all moving off to our southeast. And in fact, as we loop the velocity, you can tell that it went from not really anything. Let's go to 230. So this was an hour ago. It really wasn't anything at this point. And then all of a sudden, it just strengthened, strengthened, strengthened. Here come the winds, and it just pushes it out as it comes on through. And so now our problem is, and in fact, you can see just how quickly this is moving. The storm is basically just pushing everything out. It's quite strong. So we've got wind gusts that are at least based on the radar estimate here to be potentially up to around 70 miles an hour at the ground. So please be sure that you are in your safe spot for those types of warnings here. We'll go and take a look at any type of severe thunderstorm watches. Do not have any. We just have some warnings out there. And we've had a number of not only severe thunderstorm warnings, but also flash flood warnings also. What I'm going to do is I'm going to step off screen, switch my cameras and my computers here to see if I got some better pictures to show you here. 1 second. Okay, so this is my other computer, and let's turn our Skycam on. So this is our view from Charleston right now. Still doesn't look to be anything too impressive just yet, but it is on the way. It's coming in here very close, and so we are going to be watching that. I'm going to mute my mic here really quickly so I can talk with some of my production people. I'll be right back. All right, and we're back. Let's see. Let's go over these again. We have our flash flood warning for portions of Champaign, DeWitt, Piatt County, and looks actually now like the Ford County portion of it has been canceled. This remaining portion does go until 4:15 this afternoon. We have our severe thunderstorm warning for Vermilion County, which goes until 3:30. So they got 5 more minutes left of that one as that goes on through. And then we have our newest severe thunderstorm warnings, the strong ones here, for Christian, Macon, Sangamon County, and this first one back here until 3:30 for radar estimated 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And then we have our storm that goes until 4 o'clock for Christian, Macon, Moultrie, and Shelby counties. And that one has hail size of 1 inch and wind speed of up to 70 miles an hour. We'll show you that the hail is really not much of a factor with these storms. There's a little hail course here and there, but it is by far the wind that has been the issue here out of this. As of right now, I can't really see anything that's being lofted into the air, which is good. Just mainly the winds here as these just crank on through. Now really approaching the Highway 51 area there, Moweaqua, Assumption, Pana area, and that is by far where our strongest winds are this afternoon. Again, looping the velocity, you can tell that there wasn't anything really there until essentially it was there. We have these winds that are surging with the storms as these storms themselves surge off to our southeast. And so that's what we have right now. I've got to take one more, a couple questions here from some of my production staff, so I'll be right back once again. All right, sorry about that. Got some people coming in asking for some questions. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to being on camera over here. So let's loop things here with our storms. And so once again, kind of see the evolution of how things are playing out. Our storm that was in Vermilion County, that warning that goes until 3:30. At this point now, we're pretty much done with that. The storm is now mainly into Indiana at this point. Still left with some gusty winds down into portions of Edgar County, but for the most part now, it's looking like they're not going to be dealing with as much of that. It's kind of just north of the Paris area currently. And then we have these storms that just have blown up. In fact, you've got our, and right there, ooh, that's kind of cool. I'll zoom in on that. What's interesting is that here is our outflow boundary. That's this little line right here that has been coming out of the storms as they've been moving off to our southeast. And so what we actually have some lightning strikes that have occurred along the outflow boundary. So this is your cool gust of wind that comes out of the storm ahead of the storm, and it's actually produced a tall enough cloud to have a lightning strike out of that, which is pretty neat to see. So the strong winds right now are pushing through the Taylorville area. Probably not past that. They're getting close to the Highway 51 area. You've got on our loop here just a ton of lightning that is able to occur. And again, we've been saying before, the reason why I have all this lightning, it's just so hot and so humid. And this is an area that has not seen any storm activity just yet over the past couple days. If you may recall, as we zoom out, you may recall that the Wisconsin area and Chicagoland area, they've seen a ton of storms recently from them, but they have been very hard pressed to get into our area. Now it's our turn for today, definitely. And so a couple of things have changed now. As we get to the 3:30 hour, we will zoom in back down now to our storm. So we've had a few of them canceled already because it's 3:30. They were supposed to end at 3:30. So now we're left with the one that goes until 4 o'clock. I'm going to turn our velocity back on with this one. And so right now the velocity is strongest essentially right in the middle of that warning as it goes right over Highway 51. So Moweaqua, Pana, we've got other locations that are going to be coming in here as I zoom in. Yeah, the Assumption area, Tower Hill, it's right there on the way, Flat Branch. So we've got some storms that are packing some very strong winds as these come on through. And these storms themselves are moving quickly off to our southeast. We also have the winds very quickly coming in out of them too. I'm going to back up here and check on something to see if that has finally given me a update. So at last check, which is still kind of a little slow it seems like, it was moving to the southeast about 45 miles an hour. So it's a pretty quick moving storm as that passes on through. Let's check out our temperatures. Let me see what our temperatures are doing, and that will kind of show you, whoops, that'll kind of show you what we're working with here in terms of our current conditions. Well, the dew points will be actually even better here yet. So we've got our dew points, which remain very, very high. They're actually high everywhere. These 68s and 70s that you see on the map, those are most likely very close to the actual air temperature, which is why they're lower. Down here where they've not had the rain yet, it's not the actual air temperature, but it is very close. And so our heat index, it ranges from 106 in Effingham to 69 in Danville. It feels still like 95 in Paris. The storms are just there on your doorstep. So as this storm system, this line comes down to the south, we will start to see places finally cool down, which would be good. But just wanted to show you, if it's this hot and this humid down here to have that high of a heat index, then that means that there's a ton of energy to work with these storms, and that's why they keep on just blowing up as they go down to the southeast. Loop this again. And turn our lightning back on. Lightning is not a measurement for severe weather. You can technically have a storm that has very little lightning that is severe warned, or you could have a storm that has a ton of lightning and is not warned. But usually it's a good indication of a strong and healthy thunderstorm, and the more lightning you see in it, typically that means that the stronger it's getting. So with the amount of lightning that you've seen here just exploding in number as this moves off to the southeast, we've got it really working into that warm, humid air, and as a result of that, it's really able to just cause these thunderstorms to just explosively develop. These things are growing very quickly. The good thing is, though, the training event that has occurred for a lot of the area today north of I-74 has come to an end, which is good. But our severe threat's kind of more increased now as storms are moving instead of staying in the same location. We've got a few more minutes here left with our warning. Unfortunately, though, they're doing construction on CI Living, and CI Living currently does not have their studio right now. They can't go outside because it's still raining, and so they're in here. So I actually may have to duck out here on this stream within the next few minutes if they have to do some recordings. But again, we have just the one warning still. This warning goes until 4 o'clock for southern Macon County, the eastern portion of Christian County, the western portion of Shelby County, and a little bit of some Moultrie County also until 4 o'clock for 70-mile-per-hour wind speeds, which at that point, you're talking some good damage that's going to be possible out of that. Our velocity has now mainly crossed 51 currently, so between Pana and Assumption, the Tower Hill area, kind of right in there, that's where the strongest winds are. This is going away from the radar site, which is up in Lincoln, and if you would think about what direction that would be a southeast wind that's going in the southeast direction. It's coming from the northwest. That's also the same direction that these storms are going. So as the storms are moving, the wind is going in the same direction. And usually at some point when the winds really ramp up like that in speed, the storms actually ramp up in speed too. So we're going to see that these storms will track off to the southeast very quickly here. Its warning was initially up to around 45 miles an hour, and we'll see if that changes here. You can also tell, too, with our Storm Tracker Doppler, you've got a lot of these outflow boundaries that are now able to be seen. So the cooler air has passed by Charleston. The cooler air is approaching the Neoga area. And so with that, sometimes you can get more storm development. As of right now, it's not happened just yet, but we're going to still kind of watch things here closely. The Storm Prediction Center has kind of moved us around a lot with our outlooks for today. And so now, with our latest update, they brought us back down to a marginal. So originally, our slight risk was just into our viewing area, was mainly northwest of us. Then this morning, they put it right over our area, and now it's Thursday at last check. Yeah, August 12th, we've got a marginal risk over the area now. So it's probably not going to be too much more in the way of warnings for us. We may have that one storm continue warnings out of the viewing area, but as of right now, we're not looking at things to be too much of a high-end severe threat anymore. If anything, it's been this way now for a while, it's been more of a been more of a rain problem. So, you guys doing some recordings pretty soon? Yeah, but any minute now. Whenever. Can you guys give me like 5 minutes? Is that okay? All right. So yeah, we have to share in here our studio because CI Living currently is studioless as they are under construction, which is nice. Looks gonna look great, but we have to share. So in the meantime, I'm gonna go for a few more minutes here, and then I'll turn the sound off and I'll let things kind of loop here on our Storm Tracker Doppler. So let me check a few more things here. Internet's been a little slow with some of the warnings coming out of the Weather Service office. I'm gonna check this. Appreciate everybody watching. Again, if you have pictures of flooding or of your rain gauge or anything like that, email it to us at weather@wcia.com. All right, so We may get another warning out of this one. We may not. We'll have to kind of just wait and see what the National Weather Service office does with that. As you can tell, we just have the one warning right now. No other warnings left over for Vermilion County. We've got the strong storm kind of right there on the border of Indiana and Illinois off to the northeast of Paris. And then back on through, got a lot of heavy rain across Taylorville and a lot of Christian County with more storms off to the west. As we zoom way out, you'll see that most everything now is trying to move south. We still do have some embedded rumbles of thunder within these showers that are to the north of I-74, but a lot of the activity now is pushing south of I-72 and is moving down to the southeast at a pretty quick rate, and could end up being our next warning, if we get one, could end up being portions of Effingham County getting to I-70, getting to the I-70 corridor there. We've got more storms that are developing off to the southwest as the line goes into, again, very hot, very humid conditions that have not been touched by any storms just yet. But we still do have a number of storms that are lined out across west central Illinois, kind of the bulge there by Quincy, going back into northern Missouri. So we're not going to be saying that we're done with storms just yet with these. I think that our severe threat, once this does pass us by, does become a lot lower as we go later on into the evening hours. But there's probably going to be more redevelopment of storms about 12 hours from now coming in, after midnight tonight. We'll let me pull up a model here and see if it's on this one. Our models have been consistently bad the past couple days, and this one's actually pretty good right now, matches up. So it's surging, maybe taking a little slower time to get out of the area than what's actually doing, but we will see how that goes. But then as we go into later on tonight, all right, it keeps mainly a lot of our storm activity off into Missouri. So not again putting total confidence in this model just yet, because originally it was supposed to be after midnight tonight into early tomorrow morning that we would see some more redevelopment here. So I'm not going to rule it out, but our models are trying to pick up on the fact that what we have in the area right now is very used, very worked over air, and that there's going to be less of that over off to the west, and that's maybe where more storms to end up developing. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to switch on our Storm Tracker Doppler. I'm going to turn off my microphone as CL Living's got to do some recordings, and they have to get their show going here within the next 20 minutes. And then if we have any additional warnings that come on through, what we're going to do is we're just going to share the time, and I'll post static images up to social media as we go through the afternoon, and then occasionally jump back on here if need be. So thank you once again, everybody, for tuning in. And like I said, we're going to go silent here as CL Living has to do their things. If anything else happens, though, we'll make sure to bring you the latest information.
closing that door.
All right, everybody. Meteorologist Jack Griffin back here with some more updates. Just wanted to let you know on a couple of things here, and I'm not on camera. Let me change this view here. So what we're talking about, we've got more warnings that are now in place for the viewing area. This is now going into all the way down, like I said, it's probably going to happen down to the I-70 corridor. So what we have right now is a lot of portions of pretty much the entire county, Shelby County, is underneath 2 warnings here. We also have one that goes into Moultrie, portions of Coles. This is still going on with the 70-mile-per-hour winds out of this storm that is moving in from the northwest. So right now it's approaching the Shelbyville area currently with some of our heaviest gusts. Well, we have probably making it to the ground right there in the Shelbyville area there. So we're easily looking at gusts exceeding 60 miles an hour out of this storm as it moves off to our southeast. They put up warnings well in advance of it because of this storm is it keeps on trucking. It's got a lot of moisture. It's got a lot of energy to work with. It's very hot and very humid down here. There's been no storms recently. And at last check just a little bit ago, Effingham had a over 100-degree heat index value. So it's very warm and very humid down there. There's a lot of energy to work with. Our storms have enough fuel to keep on going. So that is what we have right now with our storms. Again, the lightning is prolific with these storms. We've got a lot of it there, but really the winds are going to be the factor with this. And this storm is moving off to the southeast very quickly here, about 45 miles an hour. So it doesn't take very long for this storm to now really begin to make some moves. Off to our north, things are finally starting to quiet down. We have some rain showers, still kind of residual rain showers left over, but for the most part now, we've got a lot better conditions in the area, which is great to see. It looks like heavy downpours in this portion of McLean County, but that's where a wind farm is. So things are looking a lot better. Just down to our south now is where our main focus is going to be for our severe weather. So you've got a large port, pretty much all of Effingham County also is in this severe thunderstorm warning. Just not getting any of my normal emails that I get here from the National Weather Service. It's been about 2.5 hours since I've last received one. A little helpful on the phone sometimes to get the latest information on that. So these storms are moving off to our southeast very quickly. Our velocity remains very, very strong as these storms are coming on in. So we'll zoom in now to the Shelbyville area, which is where the strongest winds are going to be. Nearby the Rennerville area, kind of right there along Illinois 16. You got Illinois 128 right there. That goes up to Rennerville and eventually keeps on going up to Dalton City. So we've got some strong winds down here, and these are going to be approaching not only the Shelbyville area, but the Clarksburg, Strasburg, Windsor area here within the next few minutes. So if you live anywhere nearby in these warned counties, Shelby County, portions of Coles County, we've got Effingham County too in there, and even Moultrie, a little bit of some Moultrie. You've got some time here, but you want to make sure that you're able to get inside because these storms are packing very strong wind threat with them up to around 70 miles an hour. Hail, not really much of a problem. You'll see with our hail size is that it's barely there, just right around the Shelbyville area. And I'll kind of move things around here to see anywhere else. Don't really have anywhere else of concern. So the hail is really not too much of a big factor with that. It is really all just our wind as it comes through the communities of Shelbyville and eventually, like I said, potentially Effingham down the line here for sure, Windsor, Strasburg, Clarksburg, Stewardson, Beecher City, not too far away from there. So we got some a large area here with some of these communities that are a fairly high amount of communities within these warnings as these go into the afternoon hours. We've got them that goes until 4:30. Unfortunately, though, we've got CI Living coming in here in just a few more minutes. I'll have to cut this back off again and go back to just being the radar loop. But I'll pop back on when I can. But we've got just a big wind threat from here on out. It's good and it's bad. Our wind threat that's now in place means that our flooding threat is becoming less and less of an issue the storms are no longer training anymore. The storms are now moving very quickly. And so instead of just being on that east-west line like we've had for a lot of the morning into the afternoon hours, it's now moving again. So it's good for some and it's bad for others. As it moves, you've got the motion of the storm moving into very hot, very humid air. That's naturally going to cause some rising motion, which is then going to help to form our storm and keep it going. But it's good because then the people that have been experiencing the flooding, they're able to finally get a break from the rain, as it's not been raining now for a little bit. And it's not as heavy as what it was for about 6 hours or so across portions of Ford and northern Champaign counties. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to step off screen. I'm going to put our radar back up onto full screen because CL Living's got to go here. And if we have any more information that I can pass along, I will pop in on commercial breaks and things like that. But we'll keep an eye on things for you and let you know what to expect as we go later on into our afternoon. And we'll for sure have an update on everything flooding related 5, 6, 9, and 10 tonight. So thank you guys. We'll pop back on here in a little bit.